Good evening. Coming up tonight,
a controversial bill is making its way through the State House, and we have the details.
Plus, it's the Final Four Eve, and the Gamecocks just arrived in Minnesota. More on the upcoming game.
And later, the Spring Fair food drive is just around the corner. More on this coming up.
But first, our meteorologist Bryce Glenn is in the studio with us now. Bryce, what can we expect to see this weekend?
Well, it was rainy, windy, and downright gross in the capital city earlier today, but those conditions are moving out the door and in comes the sunshine for this weekend. Stay tuned for a look at your weekend forecast tonight on SGTV Student News at 7.
Live from the Kennedy Greenhouse Studio.
This is Student News at 7.
Good evening, Carolina. I'm Maddie Verzyl.
And I'm Courtney McClain. Thanks for joining us tonight. As the LGBTQ+ community celebrates Transgender Day of Visibility, a controversial bill called the Save Women's Sports Act is advancing its way through the State House.
The legislation would require athletes to compete with the sex listed on their birth certificates. The bill applies to public middle schools, high schools, and universities.
Lawmakers spent nearly 2 hours on Wednesday discussing the bill, with opponents walking out of the meeting about an hour in. The SC United for Justice and Equality group said that the walkout was prompted by the bill's supporters using insults and slurs to demonize transgender people.
Members of the House Education and Public Works Committee did not comment on the bill before they voted 11-2 on Thursday to send the proposal to the chamber floor. Those opposed to the bill voiced concerns about the fact targeting an already vulnerable minority. The NCAA has threatened to blacklist South Carolina, which would ban the state from hosting its championships. When the COVID-19 pandemic began, unemployment rose to peak levels, but as we transition into a new phase of the pandemic, members of the South Carolina Department of Employment and Workforce are wondering why so many jobs in SC remain open.
South Carolina's DEW launched the Labor Force Participation Task Force to figure out why the number of open jobs is in tens of thousands more than the vacancies seen before the pandemic.
The task force will take a deep look into looking at what's holding back South Carolina's unemployed population from filling the open jobs currently available, looking at issues such as disability, previous incarceration, and rural broadband.
The task force aimed to have answers by the end of this year.
The university recently changed their COVID-19 safety policy.
SGTV News 4 reporter Zane Heinlein talked to the Gamecock community about how they feel about this change.
On March 17th, the wearing of masks in instructional and research spaces became optional at the University of South Carolina. Student Gamecock Television asked the USC community about how they felt regarding the new policy.
I'm glad to be free of the mask itself, but I'm not convinced that it's going to make things better down the line.
I feel pretty good about it. I think it's a lot better to hear your teachers.
I think it's good for the community, so let's keep it going.
I think if you're in a class, you probably should, if you're really close to people. But if you're outside, the weather's nice, so I don't blame you for not wearing one.
With a portion of USC students choosing to not wear a mask, we questioned if there might be a lingering pressure for students to follow suit.
A lot of people in my classes just don't wear them. I think it's a choice. The people that do wear them, I don't think anyone's judging them for wearing it, or if you don't, vice versa,
Most of them aren't wearing masks while I continue to wear mine. It does feel a bit awkward sometimes, but I am still going to be wearing them.
I would say no, just because so many other people aren't, but sometimes you do feel like you should.
For SGTV News 4, I'm Zane Heinlein.
The U of SC School of Medicine could soon be moving out of its home for almost half a century.
The university has confirmed its plans to move forward with a new health sciences campus in the Bull Street district, about 3 miles north of the main campus.
According to Associate Vice President of Planning, Design, and Construction, Derek Gruner, the campus is expected to be open in the mid to late part of this decade, initially catering to the School of Medicine before later expanding.
Hopes for the campus include allowing health science track students to eventually utilize the new facilities. The expanded footprint could also allow for the School of Medicine to grow from 100 students per class to as high as 160 admissions.
And I think this is great. A new building,
I think
lots of innovation on campus.
I love seeing USC moving forward with its buildings for students.
Right. Coming up after this, sports reporter Selena Tynes is here with the latest in Carolina sports. We'll be right back.
Women's basketball took home some new awards this week. SGTV News 4 sports anchor Selena Tynes is here with the details. Selena?
March is coming to an end, but March Madness is at its peak, with the Final Four kicking off tomorrow, April 1st. The team arrived in Minneapolis this past Tuesday after defeating number 10 ranked Creighton. In addition to a Final Four appearance, head coach Dawn Staley received the high honor of the Naismith Coach of the Year Award, and Aaliyah Boston received the Naismith Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year awards, resulting in a sweep of awards for the Gamecocks. Dawn Staley and her number 1 team are all set for tip-off in the Target Center at 7 p.m. Eastern, facing the number 1 ranked Louisville Cardinals. You can catch this game on ESPN. Carolina baseball was back in action this past Tuesday, and unfortunately they showed their inconsistency yet again after their fall to Presbyterian 9-6. The Gamecocks started off slow in the first 3 innings as Presbyterian led 6-2 going into the bottom of the 4th. After hits from Brant Belk and Kevin Madden, the Gamecocks started a comeback when they tied it up at 6 runs. Their momentum weakened and they allowed 3 runs in the last 3 innings, giving Presbyterian the win. The team will head to Columbia, Missouri to take on the Tigers in a 3-game set with the first pitch this Friday, April 1st at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's all I have from Carolina sports this week. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Selena. Coming up next, News 4 Entertainment reporter Brianna Rao will tell us what's new in entertainment. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. Joining me now is entertainment reporter Brianna Rao to fill us in on what's happening in Cola this weekend. So what do you have for us, Brianna?
Backed by popular demand, the Spring Fair Food Drive-Thru announced its return yesterday. State Fair General Manager Nancy Smith said, quote, "One positive outcome of COVID-19 was the inception of our drive-thru food fair event. This event has been very popular with the community, and we are bringing it back again with hopes of making it a new fair tradition," end quote. Mark your calendars for 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. April 19th through April 24th to indulge in the Fair Food Madness. This is one tradition you don't want to miss. I love to see that COVID had so many negative effects, but still businesses are able to have a silver lining to all those effects, and they're going to bring us something brand new for years to come.
And bringing us food. Who doesn't want that?
Who doesn't want that? That's the real thing. And we also have the Special Olympics of South Carolina hosted an inclusion rally yesterday at the State House. Organizers said the rally was about promoting inclusion through planned activities, tools, and training to keep acceptance in sports and in classrooms. Vice President of Programs for Special Olympics for South Carolina, Barbara Oswald, said, quote, "At the end of the day, Special Olympics is about inclusion and fun. The best way to promote inclusion is to hang out, have a good time, and make some new friends." According to Special Olympics South Carolina, 270 schools in South Carolina have taken part in the United Champion School program. Their program focused on acceptance and inclusion. Wow. I didn't know that this was such a big community. I feel like we have to do more to kind of raise awareness about that, and I think them protesting or holding a rally at the State House did just that. It gained a lot of people's attention.
Gained a lot of exposure. Well, that's all that we have for entertainment news for tonight. And coming up after the break, meteorologist Bryce Glenn will give you the weather forecast for this weekend, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back to Columbia's favorite weather segment. I'm meteorologist Bryce Glenn, and these are our weather headlines. To start off with, we're going to have decreasing clouds tonight, kind of recovering from those storms earlier. We're going to have a clear weekend ahead of us, clear and cool, but a rise in temperature starting on Sunday, continuing through Wednesday, and some showers are going to show up on Tuesday. Now here's a little illustration of that rise in temperatures. Our average for this time of the year is about 75. Starting out tomorrow, we're going to be right below that at 72. Dip down 1 degree or two on Saturday to 71. Then we're back on the rise on Sunday at 75, and that will continue to Monday at 77. We'll peak on Tuesday at 80 with that rain showing up as well. So it's going to be humid, warm, and rainy. Not a good combination. That'll continue into Wednesday, dipping down a little bit at 78, and then might just clear out by Thursday. Today, or tomorrow in South Carolina, I should say, it is going to be a pretty average day out there. In the low 70s to high 60s in the upstate. As we move down to the Midlands here at home in Columbia, we'll be at 72. Florence 74, same idea in Sumter 73, 72 in Orangeburg, and 70 in Aiken. A little bit warmer along the coast, a little bit more fluctuation with that water. 75 in Hilton Head, 76 in Charleston, and 73 in Myrtle Beach. Now, right now in Columbia, it is a nice, comfortable 72 degrees out there. We have a wind from the southwest at 11 miles per hour, and our humidity is at an average 66%, so not too humid out there, but still you might feel it a little bit with that warmth. It's partly cloudy, local time 7:13 p.m., and our sunset is in just a little while at 7:44. For the rest of this week, cool and sunny tomorrow at 72. Same idea Saturday, maybe a few clouds floating around. Sunday, a little bit warmer at 75. These temperatures are still on the rise on Monday at 77 with some clouds showing up, and then more clouds and rain will likely show up on Tuesday with some possible thunderstorms throughout the day. Wednesday, same idea, 78, a little bit warmer with some possible storms. Stay tuned, we'll be right back with this week's edition of Carolina Canines.
And finally tonight's Carolina Canine features Harry.
This picture was sent in by our former station manager, Kendall Smith. Harry is a fluffy golden retriever living his best life in the Queen City of Charlotte, North Carolina.
This golden boy loves spending hours stretched out in the golden sun, and he often models in his free time. To check out more about Harry's life, you can head over to his Instagram page at Golden Retriever Harry.
I am definitely following Harry.
That is definitely something Kendall would definitely send it for her dog.
For
I love
sure.
this so much.
We love Harry and we love Kendall over here at SGTV. That's all we have tonight for tonight's edition of Student News at 7.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at SGTV at USC.
To keep up with all of our content, be sure to also visit us online at sgtvonline.com. For SGTV News 4, I'm Maddie Verzyl.
And I'm Courtney McClain. From all of us here at SGTV, have a great night and forever to be.